In a family, forgiveness can often be seen as the key to moving forward. But what happens when the person you're expected to forgive is the one who has left deep scars on your soul? This story is about a 17-year-old girl grappling with the difficult decision of whether or not to forgive her autistic brother, Jake, for a childhood filled with fear, anger, and emotional turmoil. Sometimes the hardest thing to do isn't just forgiving someone, but figuring out if it's even the right thing to do. Let's dive into this emotional journey and explore the complexities of family, forgiveness, and self-preservation. Welcome to Fractured Bonds, where every story reveals a deeper truth. Growing up as the youngest in a family of 4, I always thought being the baby of the family would come with certain perks: spoiling, extra attention, maybe even a free pass for the occasional mistake. For some of my childhood, that illusion was comforting, even if it wasn't entirely true. But as I grew older, the rose-colored glasses fell away, and I began to understand that being the youngest wasn't about being sheltered or doted on. For me, it was about survival. I'm 17 now, and I still wrestle with emotions from my childhood that I can't fully make sense of. The bulk of that confusion revolves around my oldest brother, Jake. He's 25 now and was diagnosed with high-functioning autism when we were both much younger. I've heard people say that being a sibling to someone with autism means learning to adapt and show patience, and in a way, that's true. But no one ever tells you how to cope when that sibling's anger becomes a shadow that darkens your entire childhood. Jake was a ticking time bomb when we were younger. He wasn't always angry, but when his temper exploded, it was as though all the good moments we shared together dissolved into ash. As the years went by, I started to feel like the common denominator in his outbursts. Maybe it was because I was the youngest, the easiest target, or perhaps it was something about me that just got under his skin. Either way, I became the focus of his tantrums. What makes it all so complicated is that I loved Jake too. Some days, we would play together, him building intricate models with Legos while I admired his creativity, trying to keep up. Those were the good days, the ones where we acted like normal siblings. But then there were the other days when I would be running, hiding, scared for my safety. Jake's rages were terrifying, not just because he was older and bigger than me, but because his fury was unpredictable. I vividly recall being in 2nd grade, my tiny legs running as fast as they could to escape him. I'd bolt upstairs to my brother Tom's room, the one place I thought I might be safe. Tom's room had a lock, and mine didn't, probably because my parents thought I was too young to need one. So I'd hide there, behind the closet doors, hoping that Jake would give up. But he never did. He would pound on Tom's door, screaming my name, determined to get to me. Each thud felt like a hammer to my heart. It was as if he fed off my fear, growing stronger with every slam against the door. Eventually, Tom would have to open the door, afraid Jake might break it down. And when that door opened, Jake would charge straight toward me, his face contorted with rage, and rip the closet doors open. When Jake found me, the punishment was swift. He'd snatch the phone from my hands, ending my desperate calls to Mom and Dad before they could even answer. Then, he'd grab me, pinning me to the floor, his hands formed into fists as he hit me over and over. His strength was overwhelming, and I felt powerless beneath him. Sometimes, Tom would pull him off me in time, but many times I'd have to wait for Jake's anger to run its course, trapped beneath him until I could escape to my room. And when my parents finally got home, Jake would vanish into his room, hiding from the consequences of his actions. I'd sit in my room, heart racing, waiting for the moment when they'd come in and make it all better. But that moment never came. Instead, my parents would go straight to Jake's room. They'd talk to him, soothing him, calming him down. And then, they'd come to me, but not with comfort. No, they came with disappointment. Jake couldn't help himself, you know that, my mother would say, her eyes heavy with a mixture of exhaustion and something that resembled frustration. You need to be more careful. You know what sets him off. That was the pattern. No matter how scared I was, no matter how much Jake had hurt me, I was always expected to shoulder some of the blame. He has autism, he can't control it, they'd remind me, as if that made the bruises on my arms any less real. And just like that, the situation would be swept under the rug. Jake would get a slap on the wrist, and I would be told to do better. As the years passed, the physical violence lessened, but the emotional toll was permanent. I developed a hyper-awareness of people's moods, especially Jake's. If I sensed even the slightest hint of irritation, would retreat to my room or quietly fade into the background. I learned to tiptoe through life, always on guard, always afraid that one wrong word or action would set him off again. It wasn't just Jake who shaped my anxiety. My parents, well-meaning as they were, seemed blind to the emotional damage I was carrying. They thought they were helping by keeping the peace, but in doing so, they ignored the cost I was paying. Over time, my trust in them eroded. How could I trust people who never fully protected me? Who never saw me? Who constantly told me that I was part of the problem? Now, at 17, I've been diagnosed with social anxiety, depression, and panic disorder. I'm in therapy, trying to untangle the web of trauma that has shaped my life. But even now, I feel like I'm stuck in the same pattern, trapped between wanting to please my family and wanting to protect myself from further harm. Lately, my parents have been pushing me to forgive Jake. They tell me that he's changed, that he's learned to control his anger, and that I need to let go of the past. I understand why they want this. They want a united family, one where we can all sit at the dinner table and laugh like nothing ever happened. But for me, it's not that simple. Every time I'm around Jake, I feel my chest tighten. My hands shake, my heart pounds, and I feel like I'm that scared little girl hiding in the closet again. How can I forgive him when the memories are still so vivid, so raw? I've talked to my sister Maddie about this, and she agrees with me. She understands why I feel the way I do. But my parents don't. To them, it's time to move on, time to let go. They don't see the scars that Jake left behind, the ones that still hurt even though they aren't visible. The guilt weighs heavily on me. I don't want to be selfish, I don't want to be the stubborn youngest child who refuses to forgive. But I also don't want to force myself into a situation that feels unsafe, that feels wrong. My parents tell me that I'm holding on to the past, that I need to grow up and let bygones be bygones. But every time I think about forgiving Jake, something inside me recoils. I've tried before. I've made small attempts to reconnect with him, to be civil. But each time feels forced, fake, as if we're both playing roles that don't quite fit. I'm still afraid of him, and deep down, I don't think that fear will ever fully go away. So here I am, at a crossroads. Should I forgive my brother because it's what my parents want? Because it's what families are supposed to do? Or should I listen to my own heart, which tells me that forgiveness may not be possible, that it may not even be necessary for my healing? I wish I had the answer. But for now, I'm just trying to figure out what's best for me. Forgiving Jake might give my parents the family they want, but will it take away the fear and pain that have lived inside me for so long? With this, the story comes to an end, but the journey doesn't stop here. Thank you for exploring the stories that shape us. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. See you again soon.